What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another awesome episode of the Viall Files. If you didn't know, I'm your host, Nick, joined by the elite team of Chrissy, Allie, and Amanda. Truly an all-star ensemble. Hi, guys.
You're not wrong.
Ladies. Is it sexist to refer to everyone as guys? Where are we on that?
No.
I don't think so.
I honestly tried to be conscientious of that. Like when I was The Bachelor, I was like, why would I call anyone guys when I have a room full of women and ladies? But
what are you gonna do? Be like, hey gals, like,
yeah, I'd be like, hey ladies, how you doing? It was literally
ladies,
a room full of ladies and women.
Ladies is better than like gals.
But even
girls.
women will be like, hey guys, like,
hey guys.
Women will say hey guys or what's up guys to their women friends. So I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Talk
think
to me in 10
deal.
years. Talk to me in 10 years.
We won't be able to talk to each other in 10 years.
Honestly, just nod.
We'll go back. Who was it that was saying that we should bow?
Bow.
Kelly. It was Kelly.
Kelly Osbourne. That we should bow. Just everyone just bow, acknowledge.
Anywho, Molly Sims is with us today, and Molly's just great. I had the pleasure of watching the Super Bowl with Molly, before COVID happened. And she got a new podcast out, and she's been doing a lot of things, has a very fascinating and fun life, and has some great perspective. And we have a really great conversation about motherhood, parenting, soccer moms, kids in sports, getting older, dating, not loving all your kids the same, or the fear of not loving all your kids the same, and what that might be like. But yeah, Molly was great. And yeah, we talk about our podcast, new podcast, Lipstick on the Rim. And yeah, merch, viallfiles.com. We have that. Don't forget to rate us 5 stars on iTunes. Thank you. And we have an amazing Ask Nick episode that we dropped on Monday. Go back and get that information. Be sure to join us next week when I have a great and fun conversation with the wonderful Ben Folds, who is not only an incredibly talented musician, but a great conversationalist. And
about all things creativity.
And no one's been more creative than Ben Folds. So be sure to check that out. And if there's nothing else, let's get to Molly.
How's the dating going?
Great.
Are we still with her?
Yeah.
How long has it been now?
Her?
What's her name?
Natalie.
How long has it been?
Were
you with her when I saw you were just started dating her, right?
Yeah. I was pretty coy about it.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
So it's what been almost.
I mean, I've known her of like her existence on this earth since
I remember like
August
walking in Venice talking about this.
August of 19. August of 19.
That's good.
So, and I met you in January of 2020.
2020. Yeah. So, do we like her?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Like her. Like her.
Like she moved in.
She moved in.
That's like.
That's a like. You gave her more than a drawer.
I think, yeah, she's the best. I don't even know if we were dating. We're just together.
We're just having sex.
No, much more than that.
Okay, good.
And breakfast.
And
Every
breakfast.
day.
Lots of expectations.
I like it.
With one another. How's your life?
It's good. 3 kids. You know,
being a movie star and a mom and a podcast host.
It's we played t-ball this weekend. We had 2 lacrosse games, a PBBA baseball game, and another soccer game. It was eventful. We crushed.
Do you consider yourself a soccer mom, as they say?
If I were to show you this, I might be hardcore. I might be. I might be recruiting a lacrosse team right now. I shit you not. With all the time I have left.
Are you the screaming, embarrassing mom, Molly?
No, but I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. I was in fucking Torrance at 7:15 on Saturday morning. Where were you? Torrance. Then I was
How old are your kids?
4, 6, and 8.
Oh my God, we're talking about 4-year-old soccer?
No, I wasn't. I was talking about 8-year-old soccer.
Eight is
Right.
Wait.
8-year-old soccer is different than 4-year-old.
Okay.
8 is second grade?
8 is second grade.
Still a little young.
He's a stud.
Are you okay with your kids' coaches disciplining your kids?
I'm okay with any coach disciplining my kids as long as they give my kid the respect back. We had a little bit of a weird situation where...
What do you mean by that?
Well, just a coach was extremely rude to Brooks, and my 8-year-old is very much of a rule follower, slightly shy, great boy, but just he would never speak back to a coach because my husband and I have always taught him to respect elders and coaches, and it just was really brash what the guy said. So my husband left Netflix, drove in traffic an hour and a half, went down to the park, waited for 2 hours, and told the dad, like, no.
What do you say?
He's like, you can't.
No. What did the coach say to the kid? Your son.
What are you still doing here? Get out of here. Like, fuck off, basically, to Brooksy.
What do you
mean? That's what I'm saying. There was a couple people standing there and heard it and called us. And he was extremely rude. But you know what? The coach owned it. The coach was like, and my husband said, we teach our kids to respect you. You have to respect our kids.
So he was just like dismissive to your kid.
Very.
He was just kind of being a dick.
He was being a dick.
So it wasn't like he was actually even coaching him in the moment.
No, he wasn't actually supposed to even be there. They were he was down there, and there, all the kids practiced together, and the mom was like, oh, just put him on. No, not at all. Was not acceptable. I know it doesn't sound like a lot when you don't have kids, but when you have kids, it was a fucking asshole thing.
I am often curious about this. I want kids. I played sports. I can't wait to play sports with my kids. And when I grew up, like, I was very athletic, and even though my dad wasn't, and my mom probably was, but she didn't play sports, right? I'm pretty sure I got my athleticism from my mom, but like, she was like, I don't know, how are you good? And the greatest thing my parents, like you and your husband, have taught me to respect my elders, to just listen, learn.
Respect the Packers at all
Respect
times,
the
no matter
Packers.
what.
Yeah.
Even after 16 years of giving your life,
No, the team, not the players.
The team.
Well, some of my greatest coaches were kind of assholes.
I know.
A lot of people didn't like them. I'll never forget the first time I was like in the 4th grade. This is like one of my first years playing baseball, and this was like a rec league. This wasn't. I eventually played like select and like played on nationals and like the traveling team. But the first time, this was like
Your local.
You
this is what
sign
we
up.
have.
This is a participation trophy shit, and and I'll never forget the first day of practice. It was Mr. Shackner. God bless him. I still hold a soft place in my heart for him. The first day I met Mr. Shackner played like minor league baseball, and he took his baseball very seriously. And within 15 minutes of practice, this man, his coffee breath and whatever, was just in my face, yelling, like spitting, not spitting because he was like just, and I was just terrified of this man. My dad was just like, shut up and listen, but he was like, he taught me how to play baseball, and I ended up getting really good. And he was, I'm so thankful of that. Now,
there's nothing better than a good coach.
Yeah, and he again, like a lot of parents would not be okay with what
but I'll
Mr.
tell you
Shackner did.
What's different now is now that the parents coach, and that is a no-go for me.
Mr. Shackner was the father of Ryan, who was on my team.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I know.
Why?
I'm not.
Why?
I don't
I'm
get
curious.
me started. I live on the west side of LA. Don't get me started.
There's a lot. Listen, all the people listen to this podcast are parents of little soccer and baseball players.
I know.
And I'm curious.
We just had a situation where, like,
Coach's son was batting third.
yeah, it's I don't like it. I don't. Even though my husband coaches t-ball, the Grasshoppers to be exact. That's one thing. But once they get older, I really, that's what's nice about some of these club leagues. Like,
sure. But for the leagues where they might not be able to hire a coach, I guess if the parent takes the time out of their schedule to coach the team.
Yeah, but then coach fairly. That's our point.
What's
it's like
fair?
Play the kids, you know what I mean? Don't just play your fucking son. Or like, I mean, no offense, like, be fair. My husband is an amazing coach. He doesn't care. He literally like put a kid on his shoulders and went around the bases. But be fair, be cool. And I don't know. I just everybody thinks their kid's going to go pro. They're 5'2".
They're 4 years old.
They're 4 years old, boo. We're not going pro.
Your kid's not that good. But
Yeah.
I mean, your kid can bat third if you're going to coach.
I guess. I don't know. I think that you have to give all the kids an opportunity. And I think you have to be if you're going to coach, you got to be a good coach.
At what age do you think, or maybe it depends on the league? Because I remember being a kid, right? And we played on this baseball team. And Joe Tam, one of my childhood best friends, his twin sister Kelly broke up with me the first time when she left a voicemail on my parents' answering machine while we were all watching the Mighty Ducks. And we got home and Kelly on the answering machine left a message that says, "Nick, this is Kelly, you're dumped." And my whole family heard it before me. Anyway,
that need to be
it was totally fine. And Joe, when we were like in the 7th grade, wasn't as good. And I remember his mom. We were in the lacrosse. Lacrosse is a city in Wisconsin. It was big, the biggest tournament, right? And we were in the semifinals. And his mom cried to the coach because Joe didn't get to play.
No.
And
Joe was
we were like, "Sorry, Joe. Like,
sorry, Joe. You're not playing."
But every parent thinks their kid is the greatest.
And that's the thing.
But what?
I don't agree with that.
I know, but what if the coach is right about his kid, but you're wrong?
I would take that. I could possibly be wrong.
Okay.
I could. No, I honestly.
But your kid's great.
You know what? He's a good athlete, and what I really love about my kids, they show up, they give it their best, and that's all really a parent can ask for. But yeah, they work really, really, really hard. Yeah, I played sports. Yeah, of course.
Seriously though, yeah?
Yeah, tennis, basketball.
Yeah, you look like you'd
crushed.
be like really good at sports.
I was pretty good at sports. Yeah. I like sports.
What was your-
I think it's great for kids. I think, got to give them somewhere to be, something to do. And, what's the thing, the old saying is like, you got to have something to do, somewhere to be, and someone to love. 3 things you need in your life. And
Let's say that again.
Did that say that too fast? Somewhere to be, or something to do, somewhere to be, somewhere to love. Wait, someone to love, somewhere to be, and something to do. You need those 3 things in your life.
That's great.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Have you never heard that?
I haven't, but I often say like, when we're bored, good things don't happen, and that helps you not be
but I'm
bored.
just saying, like, something to do. When you have something to do, I think sometimes people who don't have anything, they're bored, or they just can't, they don't have a passion. I think that, can really affect someone to love. They say lonely people are more depressed, as we all know, like in terms of a breakup or just not a great community of friends or family. And then clearly Aaron is in the family part of that. And then somewhere to be.
I was actually talking about this with Natalie this weekend. What is your stance when it comes to parenting your kids in sports and helping them or like encouraging them to believe in their dreams versus setting realistic expectations for themselves?
I mean, listen, I come from Kentucky, so I've always been taught, my parents were self-made, dream big. I've always, look at my career. I was never supposed to be, from Kentucky. I turned into a model, lived in Europe for 7 years. Like I don't know if those realistic expectations when you're young. So I think instead of putting that out there, do the best you can, dream big, and nothing's perfect. I think I'm a big believer in building a kid's confidence. I think it is everything. Now, there's a point where you don't want to be unrealistic, but I think you have to set them up with the tools to be whomever they want to be. And sometimes that doesn't meet your parents' expectations, and that can be difficult as well.
Figs, like I said, they are awesome. You know that I wear my figs at the grocery store so I can look smart. And my lady friend, oh, by the way, I'm not allowed to call her my lady friend anymore. She was like, "Don't call me a lady friend." My girlfriend, she is a healthcare worker, only wears figs, and that's because they are modern scrubs with a focus on design, function, and comfort. The proprietary Fiall X fabric is ridiculously soft with 4-way stretch, moisturizing, wicking, anti-wrinkle, and all this antimicrobial technology that you could possibly want. So if you have a healthcare worker in your life, or you are a healthcare worker yourself, treat yourself or treat them and show some appreciation with figs.
Treat yourself.
If you are one of those awesome humans who works in healthcare, Figs wants you to wear the scrubs you deserve and enjoy 15% off your first order. Or if you are not working on the front lines and just want to look smart or show some appreciation to the people who are, gift the gift of scrubs, and Figs will also give you 50% off your first order too. Use code VIAL15 at checkout. Head to wearfigs.com, WEARFIGS.com, and enter my code VIALL15 at checkout. Get ready to love your scrubs. Huzzah! Gut health, baby. Get that gut health going and enjoy your delicious drink with Huzzah. That is right. Things are heating up, but with Huzzah, you're just getting started to experience a bold probiotic seltzer with benefits. Sunshine season is coming fast, but you could start celebrating now with Huzzah with a bold probiotic seltzer with benefits. Again, your gut health. It's so important to your immune system, your overall well-being, your health, your skin, everything really can be traced to your gut health, and Huzzah helps you get there while quenching your thirst outside in the heat. Raspberry lemon, strawberry hibiscus, juicy pear are some of the delicious flavors. Raspberry lemon is my favorite. That's what I drink. Tasty and exhilarating when chilled, but non-perishable, so you can store it at room temperature. Get your cooler ready and stock up on Huzzah Probiotic Seltzer by using code VIALL for 20% off your order at drinkhuzzah.com. That's code VIALL for 20% off at drinkhuzzah.com. I want to preface this by saying my parents are amazing parents. Some of the greatest parents. They gave me so much. I'm so thankful for my parents. I will never forget the moment that my dad told me how unlikely it would be that I would ever be a professional athlete. Again, I owe them so much. And my parents were so great and they were so supportive of me playing all the sports. I mean, they made their whole lives about their kids. So just in case.
Well, my brother was a pro golfer, so he stopped playing golf at 39.
Yeah, but in case you're listening, Dad, like I'm not shitting on you, but it's something I will never say to my kid. I don't know how old I was, but I was 7, 6, 7. I'll never forget it. My dad's putting me to bed. I was on the top bunk, and my dad was like asking me about like what I want to be when I grow up. And I said something like, oh, well, I'm a professional baseball player. And I remember him telling me like, well, kind of hard to do that, like maybe, I don't know what he said. But I was really good at sports. And I'm not saying I would have made it to be a professional baseball player. I was scouted by the Braves and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in high school.
Yeah, you were. My husband played baseball.
But I'm just saying, I just remember never thinking it was possible. Because like I can be good, think it's possible. But it was like he planted that seed of like I could be great, but you're not going to go pro. It's again so grateful for my parents, and my parents got it right with me. I'm so blessed. But if I'm lucky enough to have kids, I don't ever want to plant that seed in my kid's head. I want them to believe that as hard as if they want, they can be anything they want, whatever it is, but they will have to work hard. And there's no guarantees, but take a chance and go for it. And because I will never forget that. I'll never forget that. It's
like the little seed that's in the back of your head. And I agree. Like, my parents were, big with my brother. I don't think ultimately my parents thought my brother was going to make it. He ended up making it. He lasted about 10 years on the PGA Tour, 10 or 12 years. But again, I think had they said I don't know that he would have. I mean, even for me, I was at Vanderbilt living, college, whatever, and then making that step of going and living and giving up all that I had really worked for. So I do think you got to be careful with the seed.
Yeah, I'll never forget. And again, I probably still wouldn't have made pro, but
you probably would have.
What if I would have worked a little bit harder? What if I would have actually? Because I am someone when I like set a goal for myself, like I really focus.
What's your sign?
Libra. I obsess over the goals that I have for myself.
I obsess over the goals.
Yeah.
But do you think you're born like that?
I think there is a personality trait that I have. Whatever it is now, whether it's body engineering that we've discussed or Libra or whatever, that you're
something in your makeup. And also I'm sure you like competition.
Yeah, love. Yeah.
I love it. Like, give me a goal, give me someone to compete against. I got you.
Yeah.
And if I don't got you, I'll try my best to. I also think that's what makes me like with my kids, like I try to set them up and like I get behind them. You know what I mean? My parents were really, really awesome at that. They really, I don't know, they just, they got in there. They made us talk to them. They were, I mean, listen, nobody's perfect, and but I do think it's how you're kind of made, but then nature versus nurture.
At an early age, my parents told me just how persistent I was. Like as a 2-year-old, it wasn't a matter of if, it was just I had to figure out the right way to ask, or I would negotiate, be like, if I can't go out, well, what if hear me out. If I vacuum the living room and take out the garbage, then can I go? And I would just wear them down.
Oh no, my little one who's 4, he kind of negotiate, throw himself, but then he'll be like, I promise to be good.
How much of that gets annoying, or how much deep down are you kind of respect it because you know that those traits
right
will
now
serve
with
him
3
well?
kids, I'm annoyed. Nick, I'm tired. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed. He said, "Oh fuck," for the first time the other day. Which
Your
is
8-year-old?
My 4-year-old.
Oh,
I heard my husband going crazy, and my husband's 6'4". He doesn't really go off. I can go off more than he can, and so he goes and I go into his room like, "What's wrong?" What? He was like, he said it. I was like, "What? You're fucking kidding me?" Anyway, so I go in there and I'm like, "What happened? What happened?" And it's really pretty. He's got white blonde hair and big voice. He goes, "I said it." I go, "What did you say?" He goes, "Oh fuck." And I'm like, "Why did you say it?" He goes, "I don't know. My brain made me say it." Anyway,
Do you get
my
mad?
brain made me say it. I had to, and then I'm like, "You're grounded," because I went in there to be like, "Oh, Dad's being too rough." You know what I mean? Sorry. I was like, "No, stay in your room."
Do you guys have a discussion, you and your husband, whose fault is it? Who did he hear it from? Is it TV? Is it you guys?
I don't know. Scarlett heard it and she's like, "Yeah, Daddy said it because he broke something on the bike and he was trying to fix it, and he said it, Mom. He said it, and he said the H word." I was like, "The H word?" She goes, "The hate word." I was like, "Oh God, okay, the H." I don't let them say the hate word, and so I'm like, the H word. Anyway, it's fine. Welcome to.
Do you remember when you started swearing?
I
bet by the time I was 8, I was.
Really?
I remember having, because I grew up in a very traditional Catholic conservative household.
So did I.
And I remember walking around the block, having a thought, being like, I really fucking swear a lot to myself. But I should probably stop this. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get caught. Someone's going to tell on me, because at recess, I'm just trying to fit in and dropping F-bombs. But I remember swearing a lot at 7, 8 years old.
I don't remember. I just remember things when I was young, it was just so much different. I remember riding my yellow moped with my flag and thinking I was the shit. And I don't even
the flag.
The flag. It was awesome.
The flag was the bomb.
It was the bomb. I lived in the suburbs and I had a median, and I just would crush that median and go in circles all the time. And with my dog ears, ponytails, she couldn't find me. I was I liked always elderly people. So I'd be hanging out, with Larry and Tammy having, I don't know, a Coke or something. But those were the days. Now it's different. It's so different.
Being a kid?
Being a parent and a kid.
How so?
I think it depends on where you live.
What do I have to look forward to?
Oh, LA raising kids is so easy. It's gonna be so fun, so easy. It's just I think my husband and I I know for me my biggest fear in life is raising douchey kids. Yeah, I know.
I like that specific thought.
It's a very specific thought. Yeah.
How does one do that?
I think letting other people raise them, not instilling the right values early on. And I think it's very easy now with everything going on with electronics and iPads and social. And I just think it's too much too soon.
Douchiness can come from a place of mismanaged confidence, or maybe even insecurity, right?
Yeah, but douchiness is a certain you get it when you're like, "Oh God, don't be a douche." You know what I mean?
But yeah,
you know it.
That's
you
what I'm
feel
saying.
it.
It's a vagueness of
not really. It's not that vague when you're douchey. No. Mm-mm.
But how do you coach that up? How do you teach that to your
I just think it's
and who can men? I guess women can be douchey too, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, totally.
It's more known from a boy, men.
Yeah.
So So is it humility that you have to teach? Or?
I think you have to teach humility, and I think you also have to have them learn to be grateful. There's a whole back and forth about empathy. I hope my kids are born with empathy, but if not, I will try to instill it in them. I think you have to go beyond, especially if you live in LA, New York, the bigger cities. Like you have to take them out of their element. You have to take them out of, 90067 or 9021. You know what I mean? Like you have to help your kids evolve in that way. And I think opening them up to other cultures, other societies, other states, I think we saw even through COVID how different states, the kids won't really understand that and see that. And there's no one way. That's at the end of the day, you can still do the best you can and still have a douchey kid.
Master class. That's right. Now is a great time to learn. Well, there's no bad time to learn. That's right. Master class is giving you a personalized experience with the greatest people in their field, like Natalie Portman in acting. I before I did my last audition, I watched the master class of Natalie Portman. Truly gave me the confidence to nail the audition. Tony Hawk will teach you skateboarding.
Alicia Keys will teach you songwriting. Bobby Brown will teach you about beauty and makeup.
There's dog training, there's cooking, there's photography with truly the best people in their field. So be a master, take a class with Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the world's best minds anytime, anywhere at your own pace. Also, if you want to be a hero and give the greatest gift of learning, give it to a loved one it makes a great gift. I've given it to my brother-in-law and my siblings for Christmas and their birthdays, and they think I'm the greatest. Which I'm not, but they believe it, and it's just because of Masterclass, which is awesome. I highly recommend you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass, and as a Viall File listener, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/VIALL. That is masterclass.com/VIALL for 15% off Masterclass. Unless you're like wearing a suit, I think you shouldn't tuck in your shirts, guys, and specifically guys out there, you just look stuffy. Free yourself with an untucked shirt, but sometimes people don't do that because they don't want to look like slobs. Well, Untuck It allows you to wear the shirts untucked. They're made to be worn untucked and also look stylish and clean cut and professional. They have performance shirts that wick sweat. They also long sleeve button downs and polo shirts that are made to beat the heat, and they're stylish and great, and they look fantastic on your body. Whatever shape you are, you will look good. Untucked. Use my code VIALL for 20% off your first purchase at Untuckit, UNTUCKIT.com. Untuckit makes shirts designed to be worn untucked. They have fits for all shapes and sizes, free returns and exchanges. Head to Untuckit.com, use code VIALL for 20% off.
I think it's also about like self-awareness in terms of douchiness, is like really making sure you have a kid who can read the room and sort of understand how to adapt to various situations.
But that is taught.
Yeah,
Sometimes
right?
it's
Because
learned, but
like
I think it's taught.
I think every kid will have a moment where they act out, right?
That's different.
And they sure, but if it's not necessarily, because I don't know, I'm trying to think of a scenario where you see a kid, being kind of a shit to his peers, right?
But that's going to happen. But what you don't want it to happen is over and over, and that becomes his identity. That becomes where. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
I don't know. I just think for me, like trying to be there and get in early and really, and again, it's a different world. So we're all learning and we're all like, it's not easy. It's easier to turn a blind eye. I know you won't see it now, but once you have kids, it's sometimes easier to be like, oh, I don't know. It's an interesting.
I feel like a criticism out there of parents or this generation is, kind of talking about soccer moms and coaching, is this idea that no one can yell or parent their kids but them, and everyone thinks they have the best and most awesome kid. And
that's just not true.
Yeah, I totally agree. So like with that, if you're not going to ever like check your kids, so to speak, and let your kid know that maybe they're not the greatest of all time, and maybe, just maybe, they didn't deserve that trophy.
I agree.
That might help them not acting douchey and entitled to everything they want later in life.
100% agree.
Like I want my kids to know two things when they're younger: love and disappointment.
Me too. Gotta be disappointed.
They gotta be.
There's nothing better than a great coach and a great teacher. There's nothing better. Like, and again, like they gotta be disappointed. Gotta be.
Yeah, because how are they going to handle that disappointment and work through it and go back to the drawing table and figure out, as you know, a young kid, what they got wrong, and come back and say, Mom, I get it now.
Like he was up to bat and I could see him, and he's playing the Mustangs. So he's in a like kind of an older group because of his birthday. And I could literally like see him, and I can feel my husband like his hands were shaking because I was like kind of up close to the thing. And you're just like, and he struck out, right? Mm-hmm. And he looked back and he's like, oh, he normally goes, keep on doing. I know, over and over he struck out again. But guess what? 3 games fucking later, 3 RBIs, got the game ball. Awesome. And I mean, I've never but that's you're not gonna say that was awesome when he struck out.
Yeah, no, but let me give you a scenario. Kid's up to bat,
love it,
strikes out, and he takes the bat and smashes the bat in anger on home plate, and then throws the bat and stomps his feet and kicks dirt.
Was that a young Nick Viall?
What do you do?
I think my husband would yank his ass out of there.
I did that once, and my dad went to the coach and said, take his ass out of the game.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't like it when he throws.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
I know, right? There's a kid who we play with, and he's really aggressive and everything, and they took him out. I never thought this would be what we talked about, Nick Viall.
Who knows?
I know.
You know,
I kind of love it.
Well, I know you have parents. I want to be a parent, and
you're gonna be. By the way, you're gonna be an awesome dad.
I hope so.
You are. You had good role models, and you're not douchey. So there you go. You wear good shoes.
We've all been douchey. You have to have been you've been douchey?
Of
before?
Course.
Yeah. What's your douchiest moment? Do you think?
I don't know, but I've definitely had some good douchey moments. It's funny, you look back and you think of you look at the fashion. I was on Access the other day and they pulled up like a 20-year-old photo and everybody's like, I was like, oh my God, I looked amazing. Are you kidding me? I looked incredible. I'm like, look how thin my arms look. Yeah, no, I don't know. I remember getting into a club in London called Embargo and I thought I was the shit. That was fun.
Have you ever, tall, attractive woman, model, in your prime club days, have you ever refused to wait in a line?
Have I ever refused to wait in a line?
Because I feel like that
probably
is a little douchey.
Probably, but I don't know. I never really waited, so I don't mean to sound like at the time. Like I don't know that I it's funny. Josh Duhamel, we were on Vegas together for a while, and I said to him, I'm like, you have like this. You have your face. That's your ticket.
Yeah,
he has a good face.
Yeah,
Josh Duhamel.
No, great face.
Great face. Other things too, but great face.
But you know, like if Josh Duhamel walked into a front of the line and just stood there and was just like,
did you see the Adam Sandler thing the other day at IHOP?
No.
Oh, it was awesome.
What was it?
They didn't recognize him. I mean, they were like, it's going to be a 30-minute wait. Did you see it? I think yeah. And
it was awesome.
It was awesome. He's a delight. He's a delightful human being, him and his family. But
he's the best. Honestly,
such a man. He was like, he was trying to see if he had time, and then they recognized, and they didn't recognize him. They tried. It was good. He was not douchey at that moment.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
It's the worst, when, you know, especially like reality TV.
Oh yeah,
people, and all of a sudden they're just like, they go to the front of the line, you know. And I always hate it, like when I went on, and then my friend, like my friends from Wisconsin, it's all cool to them, and we would go out, be like, well, just like tell them that you were like, do you think this bouncer guy gives a shit about like the fact that I was on the bouncer? And I can guarantee you this much: if I walk up to him and let him know that I was, he will go out of his way to not let me in.
Totally.
But what the trick is to slowly walk to the front of the line, have a bunch of women in line notice you, get a bunch of side, and then they will let you in. There's a trick.
I know. My whole team was like, oh, I have 3 girls who work with me, 4 girls. And they're like, oh, have so much fun. I'm like, oh, I will. Oh, okay, well, take pictures. I'm like, you guys are crazy. They're in their early 30s. They think you're hot. It's good. Ask him if he's still with her. I'm like, okay, I will. It's cute. They're hot.
So now you're mother, you've been kind of open about the changes in your life from when you were in your 20s. Like, do you like being in your, I don't know how old you are, Do you like being older and a
In
mother?
my 40s, you can say it.
I don't know. You like
It's all good.
I don't know. I was like,
It's
wait,
all
before I
good.
say something stupid, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna stop assuming.
It's like
Yeah.
you're like the 4-year-old who's gonna say fuck.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
I know I shouldn't say it.
How do you like being your early 30s now that you're not in your 20s? Yes, I love it.
What is
So
it? Yeah, what is it like? Because obviously, society seems to be harder on women as they age than they do men.
Yeah.
Is that a fair
It's a very fair.
thing to say?
You know, I'm an older parent per se. Like, you know, I went to Vanderbilt, and most of my friends, especially in the South, already have kids who are graduating or graduated. So it was a little bit difficult in the beginning in my early 40s when I started having kids in my late 30s. I was considered old, so that was a little bit of a shift, but I didn't consider myself old, so I think that helped. But I never wanted kids young, and I think I got to travel and do all the things that I wanted to do, and not to say that I don't get to do some of the things that I really still want to do. It's hard to act as much and still, go to 7 soccer and lacrosse and t-ball games, but I'm happy. But I'm happy for different reasons. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much, like I didn't really want to marry someone who was like a Peter Pan at that point. Like I didn't get married till I was almost I was 38. So I'm glad, even though
you got married at 38.
I got married at 38 or 39. Yeah, I was always dating, like I was very codependent. I was dating like someone I could fix. So I would fix like a dead bird on the side of the road, like diseased. But if I could fix you or change you, I was really good at that. It was so much fun.
But I mean, and because I think there's a stereotype out there, and there's a lot of women, and we talk to them on this podcast, it's like they'll hit their early 30s and mid 30s, oh God forbid, and they act as if, and maybe it's because society treats them like that, that's it's over. I didn't find a guy yet, and
yeah, and I think it's not over. I mean, I have to say I'm so happy that I waited, because I feel like so many of my friends now are having major issues. They're getting divorced. They're in their early to mid 40s, and I almost feel like I've just begun. Like I do think though that I waited. Like, look, no one's perfect, a man nor a woman, but I do think I feel like. And I mean this, like my husband and I have the same goals. Like, you know what I mean? We have the same, we're okay. We were brought up with not a lot of money. So we appreciate money. We respect money. We work hard for it. We weren't given anything in our lives. Like he grew up in Granada Hills and I grew up in Murray, fucking Kentucky. Like, I mean, no internet, so we're very compatible in that way. And we also, we both have good morals. And I know that sounds really like, she's, conservative and lame, but like those base things, like it really does help later on in life. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
I don't know. That was like,
How'd you guys meet?
We met, I was getting my girlfriend into a Golden Globes party that was really difficult to get into. And I know she wanted to have sex with his hairdresser.
Did you sneak through the back?
I want to know which one it was.
No. Anyway, I got her in, and I just was like, I was kind of over it. I was in a bad situation with a guy that I was dating, and I just in Hollywood, as you know, it's like you could be like having the word everything's canceled. You're like, how's your podcast, Nick? It's amazing. Like there's like 1 million downloads a day. Like, and you could be canceled next. Yeah. Like you always kind of pretend everything is better in Hollywood. And my husband's a really good politician and I'm pretty good. At that moment, I was just like, I can't be fake. Like I was standing by the doorway and I don't even know if it was Britney Spears or someone having a breakdown across at the Saddle Ranch. And I think it was at the Tower Bar. I can't even remember. But I was waiting for my car. I gotten her in. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like we went to the Globes. I'm like, we waited. I got her in the after party. And he was there and we started talking and he was with someone quite serious and he had just got married. And I was like, oh, congrats. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, he just got married like 6 months ago. Meanwhile, that was not happening a month later. So, so he asked me out for an entire year, and I didn't go out with him because I was no good for any guy. I think that's the other thing. Like, instead of fixing other people, I started to kind of focus on myself as opposed to like what I want and what I need. And I think that's where the shift happened. Like, I ended up dating a bunch that year, but it was better because I wasn't good. I wasn't in a good place. I didn't feel good about myself. I felt honestly like, you know, a lot of girls get in that moment where like they're not married, they don't have a kid. And I was kind of fucking miserable, to be honest with you.
Like a lot of like self-doubt and
just like self-doubt. And I couldn't believe I'd gone to see an IVF doctor, and there I was still doing Sports Illustrated. I was like, what is happening? Like, what am I missing? Like, what is wrong with me? And I was dating the wrong guys, you know what I mean? And like, I'd gotten really dumped really badly in my early 30s. And, you know, just because you love someone doesn't mean you marry them. And it definitely hurt me for a long time. And he's a great guy. I still love him, but it wasn't ultimately meant to be. And then I dated someone younger, and that was a disaster, a complete disaster.
How much younger were they?
8 years.
Good for you.
But it was at the time. Like, I don't think if there was like late 40s, early.
Still fun. I mean, it might have been a disaster, but what a flex.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you probably spent a lot of time.
I don't want to be someone's mother.
Yeah.
That's so not sexy.
Well, but at the time, what drew you to that relationship? Almost like it made you feel. Was that the relationship followed the hard breakup?
No, we're the same age. Enrique and I were the same age.
No. But like the tough breakup.
Yeah.
The next relationship was the younger guy.
Yeah. Because I kept thinking I was going to go back, and I kept being like, and when he came back, I'm like, I'm just going to give it like a few more months, and I'm like going to give it, and then I'm like, it wasn't gonna. We're two different. He's like crazy Latin, awesome. Like, we're just two different people at our core. But there was no pressure. He was just young and fun and cool, and you know, I don't know. He was like the opposite of me. Like, he drank beer and lived in a tent. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know what the fuck what I was thinking. Literally, like that. I look back, I'm like, what in the world was I thinking?
You can send him my way.
Yeah.
I'll take a guy who drinks beer in a tent at this point.
Total guess would have been like the other relationship fucked you up a little bit.
It totally.
You were doubting your self-worth at the moment, and you met a guy who worshipped you.
Yeah.
And you're like, this feels great.
Yeah.
I don't care what you live in.
Yeah.
You worship me. Done.
But it was good, and it was good until it wasn't, you know. And then he started being an ass, and I didn't really understand. And anyway, there you go. But I do say that dating is not easy.
It's a goddamn nightmare, and that's totally fine.
It's a nightmare, but
it's a means to an end. It can be fun sometimes in the middle of constant disappointment.
Yeah.
Like, it's.
I also think you're like I remember being like, even when I met Stuber, like, I knew what I wanted at that time, even if you didn't. Like, I knew what I wanted. Like, at one point, you're going to turn 40. Or no, I think, what are you, 38, 39, 37? You're 40? Yeah. Oh, you're 40? Okay. So, and again, you could be Peter Pan. You're young, you're hot, you've got a great business. Like, but again, like, at that point, it's like, what do you want? Like, you could still be doing this at 50, you know what I mean? Sure. Or 60. It doesn't matter. There's you know, sadly with guys, like, they can, you know, be Peter Pan.
What do you mean by Peter Pan? I mean, I get what it means, but what do you mean by it?
I mean that you don't have to settle down. You don't have to change. You can just be Peter Pan. You can live your life and do what you want and be selfish. And again, that's the way you should. Like, I look back and I think, of course he was supposed to be Peter Pan. He's like young, you know, like, I don't know. Yeah,
but I guess it just depends on, like, you know, for you, for example, you got married at 38, and in your 30s, you had these relationships in your 20s and early 30s, and you broke some hearts. You had your heart broken, and you're saving lives and fixing people, and eventually you were like, I've figured out what I want, right? And
I started being jealous. I was in a grocery store or whatever, and I walked by, and I had this amazing, beautiful picture of Heidi Klum, and she was so hot and so beautiful, and she started a little bit before me, but we were in the same era. And I just remember thinking like, I'm so jealous. Like, but I wasn't jealous that she was on the cover. I was jealous that she was married and had 4 kids. Like, I think I got to the point where I didn't want to be a gypsy. And trust me, I'm a gypsy. I can leave tomorrow to New York, to Paris, to New Zealand, like anywhere. I love traveling, and I got used to that. I think with Vegas, being in LA, never wanting to be in LA and being stuck here, and then seeing the same people, you know, as a model, you're only with the same person like maybe 3 days a week, 4 days if you're booked on a week, like maybe. So that was like a big transition for me. And so when I was off the show, I moved, I still have my place here, but I kept, I had my, Carrie Bradshaw apartment, which I still do in New York. Like, I just felt like this wasn't going to be my home. And I don't know, like the gypsy part of me at 35, 36, it started wearing on me.
Sure.
Living in a trailer, living in a suitcase, that it sounds fun, but it's why, with acting, it's difficult. I don't want to live in Atlanta. I want to live.
No, that makes sense too. Cause like, as, for me too, like you say like Peter Pan, and it could, but like a lot comes down to like the choices you make on a day-to-day basis. I mean, rather than the perception of being single in a certain age, right? Like at some point you started realizing what you want and didn't want. And then you made some changes. And like you said, at some point you're just like, these parties aren't any cooler or more fun than any other parties. And you're just like, whatever. And then you met a guy, and at a point where you were confident what you want and didn't want, and that manifested
And he also was, a guy that was a producer, that was traveled, that was, he was not an actor, so he was more, of an executive in that way. So he had somewhere to be.
For a year, you told him no. So you met him at a point where you knew how to set boundaries for yourself.
Totally. Even though, he didn't call for like 3 days. Go, what the fuck? I was like, no.
Because like 28-year-old you might have given in way sooner.
Oh yeah, way sooner. I remember I was in Chloe boots, the motorcycle boots, and a white t-shirt, V-neck. It was beautiful. I think I still have the same one. And leather pants. I remember like getting up, and he was like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "No, this is not for me." With Stuber, I'm like, "No, I'm not your exes. I don't, you just can't not call me or." Yeah, set those goals, set those boundaries, ladies. It does make them listen.
Yeah, and you were chill about it.
I was so chill about it. You can't even.
Yeah, I'm trying to instill into my audience to just like, even if you don't feel chill, just for like 3 minutes, suck it up.
Don't have verbal diarrhea.
Sound chill. And then call your friends and lose your shit.
And
but to
lose your mind.
But to them, you're being like, it's cool, man. I'm going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. He's like, where are you going? I was like, I'm going to go to my house. He's like, I just don't understand. I'm like, oh, well, we're good. I just don't think this is, we want the right
when a
thing.
guy says he doesn't understand, you got him.
He's like, I just don't understand. It's hard, though. It is a little
It
is a little bit of a still a cat. You've got to, I don't like games, but you've also got to like,
As long as you're letting him know how you feel, it's not game playing.
No.
Because you really were over it. You had some red flags about him for whatever. No, red flags are just things to be like, I don't know about you. Like, here are some things. And so I'm going to say no right now because it's unclear. And those were all true things.
True.
You get yourself in trouble when you want something and you are deliberately being difficult to elicit a reaction.
It is the worst thing women do. And also being passive aggressive, I think, is one of the worst things women can do.
Do you think women are more passive aggressive than men? Or
yes.
Do you do?
I do.
I don't know if I agree. Aaron Rodgers, man, super passive aggressive.
Super passive aggressive. I do. I think women can be very manipulated. Manipulating.
It's a great question for men to ask their partners. And I dropped this on Natalie recently out of nowhere. Just sit them down and go, have you ever manipulated me? Ever? Pay attention to her reaction.
She's silent. She doesn't.
She's like, I don't think so. And I'm just like, we all can play little games, but it's a good question to ask your partner. Have you ever manipulated me?
I'm going to ask him. I'm going to.
If you get an honest answer, they should think about it at least. They shouldn't just answer. Of course not, babe. You haven't really thought about it because we all can.
We all do it.
Play some games but like, did you knowingly,
Did you knowingly
play chess with me, my heart, because you were?
Yeah.
We never. Have you cheated on me? Have you done this? Have you manipulated me?
Have you manipulated me? That's a good question. It's a really good question. But I do. I think all there's not one love for everyone. Like, I think you can have many great loves of your life. I think it's different when you marry them. I don't know.
I agree.
I've had some great loves, but not to marry.
Is your husband okay with that?
Yeah, I'm sure he's had some great loves.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think people get themselves in trouble when they try to pretend that doesn't exist. It's hard expectations to live up to.
Yeah.
No one else before you.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, I don't know. All those other people brought me to you. Like, all this bullshit. Like,
that is so true right there. Brought me to you. That is so what you've learned and the mistakes you've made, because everybody's going to make mistakes and you're going to learn from them, hopefully, or not. And keep repeating them until you do.
Yeah. And I do think men are, I don't know. Do you think men or women are more guilty of shaming and guilting their partners for their past? People do that a lot. They start dating, they learn about who they've been with or hooked up with or who they dated.
I think women,
and they throw these little jabs. You're like, oh, because you dated her, or because you hung out with him, or like, oh, like.
I think both do it. I think women do it a little bit more. Do you think the opposite?
I think that's one of the things that I like about our relationship the most is we don't do that. I think we both recognize that people have liked us. And we've hung out with those people. Things have happened, and here we are together.
Do you think she is your equal?
Oh, yeah. I also, more importantly, I think we balance each other out. I think she really helps even out my weaknesses really well. I annoy her more than she annoys me, which is a little concerning for me.
That's a little concerning. That's okay. Yeah. I know Super can be so like, I can be so emotional and he can just be like so calm. I mean, sometimes it's irritatingly calm, but a lot of times it just brings it all down.
I'm calm.
He's like so calm.
Yeah. I'm like, well, yes. And
like, don't worry about it.
I've had that problem with other relationships. My calmness just infuriated them.
You can't be too calm. You have to have, it can't be like unemotional. It can't be like not, it can be calm. But it can't be like calm.
Have you ever feel like he doesn't care because he's too calm?
Well, yeah. I'm like, what? Why are you not upset about this? I mean, oh yeah.
Yeah, I get that criticism sometimes.
Yeah, but he's like very stable, very like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. It's all gonna be good at the end. Like, and I'm like, ah! That was a weird. I sounded like a pterodactyl.
No,
yeah,
it's fine.
But it's fine. It's all right.
But
yeah, it's interesting. I don't wish I could go back though.
You don't?
Mm-mm. Like people are like, oh, I wish I could relive my camp days. You know what I mean? Or like, I wish I could relive my like 20. I know. It's weird.
Would you want to be immortal?
I don't know.
Why not?
It's such a weird question. I don't know. Do you want to be immortal?
I think maybe the real question is, if you could be immortal at any age, what age would you pick? But your brain brain is stuck there. Like, so it's not just a physical thing. Like, it's like your psychological development is also in that place.
Well, my psychological.
The days of The Bachelor, would you like to be stuck there?
No, but every day, like the one thing you learn about life, I don't know what age you finally learn the concept of perspective. And if that's one thing that I don't know how to teach it. Like the first time I was going through a heartbreak, right? My grandma, Phyllis, I call her Phyllis, cool grandma. Phyllis. And Phyllis was just like, bro, you're super young, like chill the fuck out. And I was just like, you don't understand. And I'm like, she's like You're telling me I don't understand, right? And the idea of perspective, just the idea that I hadn't figured it all out yet, that thought didn't dawn on me. And it wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s that I at least had the self-awareness that I didn't know it all, and that I'm going to keep learning as I go. And
that's a big moment.
As I get older and older, I keep learning more and I get smarter, right? And I accumulate knowledge. And so you asked me that question today, and it's just like, well, probably now, because I feel like I know the most if we're talking just intellectually, but like 10 years from now, I'm going to know that much more. But if you're combining my physical characteristics and my ability to like touch my toes, like 35, 38,
maybe the baseball player, Nick Viall.
Right around this period in time would have been a great, I'd have a vampire bite me right about now.
Yeah.
And yes, I would be fine with being immortal.
Maybe. I like Phyllis though.
Phyllis is great. She loves sports. She loves Aaron Rodgers on the Packers. She does. I'm curious what Phyllis thinks about this drama. She's a diehard fan. I only asked why if you wanted to be immortal because like again, sometimes people, if you said you didn't want to live it again, and it's just like. Is it the experience of the lessons, or is it just going back?
The experience of the lessons. I don't know. Like sometimes I feel.
But then there's that question of knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
But being 20-year-old self.
I interviewed Tinks the other day, and she made such a good comment. She was like, I was always like a late arrival, and I feel like I was a little bit of a late arrival.
I feel that way.
I know that sounds weird, but like sometimes I feel like that. I feel like I was a late arrival. Like I remember I had Mean Girls in college, and I don't know. I always felt like a little bit late to the game, but I don't really feel late to the game anymore. Yeah. Late arrival.
How, as you get older and you age, someone especially who model, what is your approach on how much do you stress beauty, the beauty industry, skincare, plastic surgery? What are your thoughts on that for the ladies listening?
Yeah, no, I love beauty. Listen, I love skincare and all things. I mean, I started a podcast about it and a site about it. I am very much to each his own. I would hope to still look like myself in 10 or 15 years, which I feel like people have taken the injections and the fillers and the surgeries to a very crazy level. For me, like, back to my modeling days, I've always liked more of a natural, undone look. I don't, again, but that's not to say that I won't do plastic surgery or I do Botox. Like I have no problem saying what I do and how hard I have to work or exercise but I do think there is a moment where it has gotten fucking crazy with the amount of surgery that has started at such a young age. And these women feel like, they're getting full on brow lifts in their 20s. Like, they're getting it's crazy. Again, to each his own, but I think it's, we're not just talking about people getting a boob job or a nose job. It's like, it's insane.
As a parent, what are you going to teach your kids about beauty or your daughter, especially as she becomes a young adult? And, the expectations of letting her be her own person versus giving her the confidence to not necessarily buckle to the pressure of society and social media. And there's a good chance your daughter, being her mom, she might have a bit of a following at an earlier age.
No.
And that can complicate.
No, she will not.
She won't have social media?
I'm not saying she won't have social media. She won't have social media till very, very, very late if she does.
What's very late?
I don't even know. I think it's crazy. I look at these girls and they're 15 and they're 16 and they're naturally very, very thin. and they're beautiful bodies. And they were like, I cannot believe I don't have a big butt. Like, it is crazy. It's crazy. And they're gorgeous. Like, I don't know. It frightens me on a deep level of what I'm going to have to deal with, because Scarlett she is a beautiful little girl.
How do you balance
social media with them?
Well, yeah, because, like, for example, when I was a kid, like, I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies. Right. But I still found a way sometimes, because it's just about finding the friends whose parents don't give as much as a shit, or they just have different rules.
Right.
So it's even harder these days it's just everywhere.
It's
right.
Everywhere.
So how do you balance restricting your kid from doing things without kind of being the overzealous parent who won't let them do anything, and they counter that by
doing everything?
Doing everything is to rebel against. I mean, I
think there's a happy. It's terrifying, and
yeah.
I mean, you'll have to deal with it too. I don't know, because I can tend to go. I can be the over, protective helicopter mom, where I literally have to take it back just in my own, like, own anxieties. I don't know. I hope I can balance it. I hope that, I think a child's friends are everything. I think at one point your friends have much more control or lack of control over your child than you do. And I think trying your best to set them up with a good group. And that's why I think sports are so important. Because also sports are so good, especially, later in life, just with business, being on a team, being with, I always say, if people want to make it, like, hire smarter people than you and build a better team. Like, don't be such a narcissist where you have to control everything. And, like, that's the worst thing you can do. And I think sports it really does teach you that. Like, maybe you want to do it as a single person, but what's good for the team? You know what I mean? And that's business. I don't know. Social media it truly, truly scares me. And I mean that. It scares me on so many levels.
But same. Yeah.
Just what they see, like, just casually scrolling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, if your kid, like, found a phone on TikTok and scrolled through a week, his point of view on life might drastically be different 8 days later.
And, and then you have to be careful not to judge, because every parent every child comes from a different situation. If they're divorced and they need a phone because their parents are, not speaking, and they need to talk to the child. Like, there's so many things you don't think of. Yeah. I kind of like them young. I'm not gonna.
The kids.
Was it small children, small problems? Something like that. Big children, big problems.
Do you have a favorite?
I have a favorite. Whoever I'm with at the moment is my favorite.
Good answer.
Thank you. It's weird, because you think when you have a baby, you're like, how the fuck am I going to love this one as much as I do? And as a mom, especially, because you have such mom guilt right when they come out. Like, it's just like you like take a shot of it. I was my worry, like, how am I going to love, Scarlett as much as I love Brooks? And then, like, how am I going to love Gray? I mean, Gray's a fucking animal. I don't even know he's going to, like, be in jail. But how am I going to love Gray as much as I love, the other two? It's weird. You just do.
I appreciate it. I think that's a honest answer you don't hear from a lot of people.
I know.
A fear of loving your kid as much as you love it.
Yeah. And women have this, and I know it's true, and I know, like, I have severe mom guilt. Like, when I'm an awesome mom, I'm like, oh, fuck, I suck at work. But I'm, like, crushing it. I crushed something last week. Crushed. Big pitch. Got it. I was like, oh, I'm a shitty mom. Like,
what do you feel more pride in? Knocking out a scene in a movie or a mom moment?
I love a good mom moment, but there's nothing better than crushing it too. Let me tell you. I love it. I love a good crush. Like, when you got it, when you prepped, we, like, pitched this book the other day and boom, like, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. You want to play a little game with us before we let you go?
Let's do it.
Super easy. It's called Do You Know Me?
Oh, Brooke Mahan. Yes.
It's how we met. Yeah, you should have known this.
How we met. I love me some Brooke Mahan, and I love me some Mike Mahan.
Mike and I talk sports a lot.
Mike is phenomenal.
Mike is great.
He's up at 6.
Yeah.
He's specific. I can tell you what he eats. He's a phenomenal man.
We have a lot in common.
I love him.
Yeah.
I can tell you what he eats too, because I used to work for him.
Is that funny? I recently was on vacation with them, and she stayed with her younger one, and he ended up coming with Stuber and I, and we just I was like, I could be married to your husband. He's predictable, he's like, he's awesome. He is obsessed with baseball cards. He's gonna own them. He's awesome.
Yeah, we nerd out together.
Yeah, it's good. I'm like, your nerdy's gonna pay off. I'm like,
yeah,
it's good.
Do you know me with Molly Sims? Question number 1. Can Molly play an instrument? And to be clear, this doesn't mean you took piano lessons in the 3rd grade, but like, can you currently play an instrument? Can you at a party flex an instrument? I'm gonna say
So
no.
are you good at playing?
No, play.
Okay. Well, if you're flexing.
All right, so you don't have to be good, but like, could you play? Yeah, can you pick up an instrument today of any kind, and someone be like, not bad? I'm gonna say no.
I think you can sing, but not play an instrument.
We'll count singing.
Okay, you can play the vocal cords.
I'm gonna still say no.
I'm going to say no, but I would love it if she was just like, yeah, I could play a French horn.
Yeah.
Right.
Mandolin.
I could play the fucking violin. Like,
I think it would be like a random instrument.
It's
if
so
it is
funny.
an
My
instrument.
husband, I cannot play. And it's like my husband is trying to teach my son guitar because he was in college. He went to U of A, and he like would pretend like dirt bags was the dry cleaners, but it was a bar. And some kid just like ripped it on the guitar or the piano. I can't even remember. And he was like, and all the girls went fucking nuts. He was like, kid, you gotta
accent guitars.
Totally.
Take either of those away from a guy, not as hot.
Not as
Absolutely.
hot.
Guitar, totally hot. An
Totally.
accent, totally hot.
Totally hot. I love a British accent. I really do. And someone who can like play piano. So
It's true.
that would be like Chris Martin, hot, grungy.
Yeah, no, it'd be great if I did both.
Do you play an instrument?
No, I took violin and piano lessons as a kid.
So did I.
Progressively got worse.
You have a
I think I
TikTok
did
of
the
you playing a
flute for a
guitar.
moment.
Yeah, I too.
I think I had a flute experience in the band because it was silver. Even just like carrying the instrument, I thought I was cool. Like it was. I don't know. Yeah, that was. I'm so not music. I can't even really sing, to be honest with you.
No judgment. Question number 2: has Molly ever been sent to the principal's office? I'm not sure about this one. I think you have a fiery side, but I think as a young person, you were more of a rule follower. And the fiery side maybe came out in your young adult life. So I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say, if so, it was sport related, but she did grow up in she said she grew up in like another Christian household following the rules too. So I'd be surprised.
I think once at
Also
a very
could be
young
something
age.
random.
Once at a very young age, 4th grade, Mrs. Carneal, I changed an answer. And I know I know it's going to sound weird, but it affected me for the rest of my life. They made such a big deal about it. They almost expelled me. I'm not joking you.
Because you changed the answer
Yeah,
when you were
I had to
self-correcting
go-
your test?
yeah. I had to go literally see someone because it like I don't even know. Whatever. My parents almost left the school over it. They treated me terrible. They ended up apologizing. But yes, I got sent to the principal. And guess what? I never cheated ever. Like, when everyone was like in high school, like doing paper. No, not me because of that moment. It was awful. I was like crying.
Wow. Okay.
That was deep.
It got heavy.
That just got
That was
heavy.
like a whole session with
That
her
was like
therapist.
a whole. That was a really.
Like,
deep
do you want to
moment.
talk
I'm sorry.
about it?
I don't, but it affected me deeply, people. It affected me deeply.
Question number 3: has Molly ever thrown up in public? Well, the first question is really, is she a thrower-upper or is she a blackouter when it comes to drinking? Because if she has thrown up in public, it will most likely have been through alcohol.
I was going to say the first question is this, are we going to say this is alcohol?
Doesn't
or
have to be.
in
Yeah.
general.
Like, for example, I ran
I was gonna
track
say, like,
and I
morning
threw
sickness.
up after every race. So I've thrown up literally hundreds of times in public, unalcohol related. but that's just me.
I have thrown up outside of Bristol Farms on my third pregnancy. I walked in.
Oh, pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah,
Pregnancy.
there you go.
There you
I
And
said morning sickness.
And I actually threw up on all my babies. But yes, Adam Scher and Enrique Marciano had to take me out. I was in like early 2000s. I had never had like apple martinis or anything like that. And I crushed like 6 of them and they got me out and I threw up on a building and then laid in my apartment.
So a hard yes.
It was a hard yes.
Martinis. So
Yeah.
gross.
Has Molly
Never had one since.
ever been on a blind date?
Yes.
Reluctantly, but
I think you've been like set up before, but I don't think it's been blind. I think you've done
let's
research.
define blind date.
I think
Set up is a blind date.
yeah, but like I think you've known something about the person, done some kind of verification.
Yeah, I think it's insane, total insanity, to like go on what is considered like a true blind date. Where like, hey, trust me on this.
A
No
double
Google,
blind date.
nothing, and just show up to this place, and this absolute stranger will also show up, and I'm gonna tell you the name, but nothing else. I think that's fucking insane. But that's just me. Well, fine, we'll audit it. Has Molly ever been set up and then gone on a date?
I have been set up. I was set up with Aaron Eckhart. It was kind of a
Ooh.
blind date because I didn't really know him, but there you go.
He seems like he's so nice.
Yeah,
He is nice. He's a good guy. He's a fantastic actor.
great hair.
Great hair. Great.
Has Molly ever hooked up with someone 10 years older than her? Yes.
10 years older?
No.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I was engaged to him. Yeah. Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah, I was engaged
Like I
to a
said,
French.
for sure.
That's for sure. I was
100%.
That was 100% a French man named Stefan. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
All right, and final question. Has Molly ever left a bad review on Yelp? No. It's too busy.
Yes.
After the coach story, I'm like,
Yeah.
if you are wronged, you are going to vocalize it.
A good mom one. It's gotta be good.
I don't think I have.
So good.
I don't think I
No!
have. You know what
There's
it
a
is?
difference between yelling at your coach's kid and then going on Yelp
Yeah.
on the internet and then putting up a profile and leaving a review for other strangers to read.
I feel
my
like
friend
that's different when
left-
it's talking about moms, though, because moms will go onto mom things and write reviews for other people's children.
Literally,
So I feel like it's different.
One of my friends wrote a review about their restaurant and they wrote it so specifically that they knew who it was who wrote it. I'm like, what are you doing? But yes, no, I've never taken the time to write a review on Yelp. I should though. Just like bust
I don't know if you
one-
should.
Just like bust one out. I do like, yeah. I was going to say my pet peeves. Yeah. No.
Well, Molly, this has been a ton of fun. I feel like we could do this for hours.
We got it good.
Let the people know you got a podcast out. You're also doing a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
Let them know where they can digest and enjoy all the things you're putting out there.
Yeah, it's called Lipstick on the Rim with Molly Sims, mollysims.com. If you're just dying for those beauty tips and experts and all things
There's
beauty
a
wellness.
good bet that a lot of people listening
It's
are into it.
honestly, it's really good. It's my best girlfriend and I met her like 17 years ago. Basically, it's girl talk. We're really truthful and honest and transparent and authentic. And we give you the goods, we give you the bads. Talk about dating. We have a great sexologist. You got to have her on. Shanna Boudrum. Do you know her? She's beautiful.
Yes, we've had her on this podcast.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's I wasn't sure I was going to be good for the medium, but I like it. I clearly like to talk, so I think I could try.
Yeah, I think
I could do
that'll
it.
be fine. Well, check it out. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castmedia.com, cast with a K. And if there's nothing else, we will see you back on Monday.